Hi everyone. Good morning. It's a bit awkward here, can't see what's going on. Can't see any people. But I'm led to believe that you're there.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing we talk about. What we call, for want of a better term, non-duality. And I say, whatever name you put on it is not it. Because no names, no forms are the actuality. All labels. But as you know, the label is not the thing. All the idea was separate entities, individuals, but individual means undivided. But we take ourselves to be the persona which is divided, seemingly divided, separate. But when you understand individual, even though all the pattern shapes and forms are appearing in this basic screen of awareness, they are not divided or separate from it. They are only appearances in it. And that's the definition of phenomena. That's which appears to be. So the phenomenal manifestation is appearance only. It's only seeming other than what it actually is. It is the one essence, or one awareness, or one basic screen in which everything pattern shapes and forms and appears. But none of the patterns, shapes or forms have any separate nature. They're appearing separate, but you can't separate it. Have a look at this body mind you call yourself. You or I, separated from the air, separated from the water, separated from the body temperatures, separated from the earth, separated from space. Not only you or I, but the tree, the flower, the bird, the insect, anything at all in the manifestation. Can it be separate from it? So why is it so seemingly so hard to recognise that and stay with it? We've taken the belief we are these persons. We're seeing everything as separate and taking the appearance to be real. But as they tell us in the scriptures, in the seemingly true pointers to it, they say it's ignorance. And as we understand the word, or as I understood it, any ignorance meant to be dull or stupid. But take it as it really means, we are ignoring our true nature, ignoring it, and focusing into the conceptual patterns we've taken on board, and the belief that we are that separate entity. I'm just recognising something here. And I'm seeing it as it really is, in its totality. So it's not a problem anymore. So, seeing everything just as it is. To recognise that, it needs to be investigated and understood. Where do we get this idea that we were the separate entity from this person? Well, we've taken on the belief that this person, me or I, was born. But when I look at it, I can't remember my birth. So how can I say I began? There was a certain point, seeming point, but there's no actual point, when I recognised there was a recognition here that I was seeing things and labelling them, learning words for different things. But before I learnt the word, there was just a pure seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, thinking. And I wasn't saying I'm seeing this or I'm seeing that. I hadn't separated until I learnt the words. But I'd been functioning for a couple of years before that quite well without the word. And when I look back and see how things, through what we've understood and recognised as nature and all the rest of it, how things, pattern, shapes and forms, that I was 9 months in the womb, growing. We're putting this pattern together. This pattern, shape and form was coming together, not by a me or any entity, by the innate intelligence that functions this manifestation, this cosmos, this universe. Innately suffusing everything. And from the life essence, the same intelligence that was in my parents that formed the sperm and the ovum through the food and air they were taking in, was those two came together, those two microscopic particles suffused with that energy came together. The activity in them, or the life in them, doubled that cell and doubled it again and again and again and formed the little embryo, the little fetus, which I am today. But I can't say I'm a little fetus anymore, or I might be a little shit for some people. But not a little fetus, or not the little sperm or the little ovum. But it was the same life essence that patterned, shaped and formed all those things that was in my parents, that was in every pattern, shape and forming of life that's out there, every sentient pattern. And that it is what I am to this day. And I can remember things back from childhood, or there is a remembering of them, a recalling of them. But is it the same pattern that's recalling them? It's not. Because it's not the same body that was back there. I mean, what is it that's doing it? It must be that life essence that's in it, that's utilising it, that's expressing through it, that's doing it all. So what must I be? I must be that life essence. And that life essence has never separated itself from the basic screen, which we call awareness, unknowingness, an activity, an intelligence functioning, or God, or the liberated persona, or all these different names. Different names we put on different words. And every word I've ever spoken has been learnt or picked up somewhere along the way, acquired. Because there was no words in that little baby when it was born. It can make sounds which are just a vibration of energy, which become a form into words. That's all that words are sounds. But when it has no. So the sounds have become words. And the parents taught me words, so-called, I started talking about I or me, about that believed entity that made it come about as a separate entity when it learnt words from its parents. Called it Little John or Little Bobby or Little Billy or whatever the name was they put on it. And learnt words like I or me. In the first couple of years they were living around my parents, they're talking, and the capacity of hearing is here, just the capacity of seeing was there. And I was hearing these words, and the capacity of reasoning developed at about that age or two and a half. And that's the useful capacity. And the capacity of reasoning, these words were taken on. And I learnt, I am little Johnny, or little Bob. And parents, I'd do something which to my parents wasn't the right thing to do, or say don't do that, or do this, or you're a bad boy, or things like that. And with this capacity of reasoning, this little Johnny they're talking about is a bad boy. He's not good. He's unhappy. He's fearful. And the capacity of reasoning developed then with these words. And I took these words on and said, the words being a vibration, that's all that words are. It's a vibration, a sound, a movement of energy, a vibrating pattern of energy. And I didn't realise then that they vibrated in their pairs of opposites. Want to say something?
No. I just put it on the wrong side. I'm gonna share it. Keep going.
Vibrate always in the pairs of opposites. And see that in your mind, how it's vibrating. You're either in the past, which is memory, or the future, which is anticipation, imagination. And so it's always vibrating from one end to the other. The boundaries we put on it are the words good, bad, pleasant, painful, happy, sad, loving, hating. They're the limiting factors we put on it. But there is no limitation to it at all when you realise that the word is not some objective thing that can stop you at all. It's just a sound, a vibration. And there's nothing to be fixated on. If I fixate on the word, oh, this is bad, and in the thought, from the thought comes the feeling or the sensation, the body starts to churn up a bit, and the emotion, thought, feeling and emotion being the one thing, come up. So that feeling becomes what we call a bad feeling, a feeling that stirred up the body and made it feel anxious, fearful. But there are other thoughts too that we label, anxious, fear. They're all labels or limitations or boundaries we put upon ourselves with the word. And we encapsulate ourselves in this vibrating pattern of intelligence energy, which we call nama rupa, name and form. In the name and form, because we think it's expressing the awareness in this, the life or in this pattern, which is awareness expressing through this pattern. And that enables those words to formulate and express as words through the voice box, through the sound, through the vibration, and instead of basically coming from the pure essence of silence or stillness, it's coming from the conceptual image I built about myself. I'm Bob the Australian. I'm a good bloke, or not so very good, or I'm unhappy, or sad, or I've got a bad childhood, or I've done this or done that, and I've been in all sorts of dramas and traumas, fears and anxieties and stresses. I'm writing it, piling it all on this conceptual image, this pattern of energy called Bob, which has become the reference point, which is constantly relating to that self-centre, which I believe has a static point, a self-centre, which I call I or me. And everything is relative to that I or me. And relativity is relationship. And relationship is duality. Relationship, relativity, or relationship means me and the other, or other than me, or something separate apart from me. And see how we're related, day, night, winter, summer. It's all relative, good, bad, pleasant, painful. That's how this so-called thing we've labelled mind functions. It functions dualistically. And the I that we believe ourselves to be, the persona, has become the person, the persona, coming from persona, the mask. So we've got this conceptual image now. What my parents told me, I'm Bob. I'm Australian, you're a good boy, you're not so good, and I've learned so many other things I put on it. I'm all sorts of other patterns. I'm fearful, or I'm anxious, or I'm depressed, or I'm guilty. I need to become this, or get rid of that. It's constant conflict, this I thought, and what goes with that thought, the belief in the separate entity, the persona, that is the only thing that can ever suffer. That believed in it's all happening to this persona, this mask. What's the matter?
No, I'm just transmitting from your private page instead of public. That's okay. It's okay.
So from that you realise that the person, believed in person, is that me is the cause of all my psychological problems. And that's what we call the self-centre. So I made this reference point, the centre, from where everything seemingly comes from, this person. But is it a static point? Is there a centre there that you can say, this is where I begin, this is what I am? Am I this individual? Am I this separate entity? Am I this person? Am I this mask of concepts? When that is investigated, I can't find a static point anywhere at all in this pattern I call the body that I can say, this is where I begin, this is what I am. There come feelings or sensations, like seemingly in the head, in the heart, in the chest, in the stomach, in the, all sorts of reference points that relates to where the sensations or feelings seemingly are. But when investigated and look at it, they call knots in the stomach, or aches in the head, or pain behind the eyes, or all sorts of conceptual conflicts that are appearing through in this thing we call mind to be something solid and substantial. But when I look for it, I can't find any substance with it. It appears to be there because it's been reinforced day in, day out for years. And and as soon as that sensation comes up, which causes thoughts, feelings, the thoughts become feelings, and sensations and feelings and emotion. So to cause that sensation, it stirs up something in the body. Might rate as something in the head, or something in the chest, or a knot in the stomach, or an ache in the heart, or something like that. But we're looking to try and find this ache in the heart. If it's not physical, if it's psychological, I can't find it. If it's physical, I better go to a doctor very quickly. If it's a knot in the guts, again, have a look at it. If I can look into it, and you really got to look into it. Focus into it and see. Try and make it worse. Put your energy into it if you think it's worse. If you've got a bone or a bruise in your body somewhere, or a pain in your body, or a strained muscle or something, you can soon pinpoint that. You can put your finger on it. But all this psychological knots we get and lumps and aches, try and find them if you can. When you really look into them, you find that there's nothing there. Nothing there at all. Because there's no static point. And when it's seen through, can it stay there? Is a thought or a feeling or emotion fixed anywhere? You keep it there. The only place it's seemingly fixed in is in the mind. When you're clinging to it, when you're fixating on it, when you're hanging on to it. If you let it go, what happens to it? We'll have a look, investigate that. Where are yesterday's thoughts now? You might have had emotional thoughts there, high feeling thoughts, there might have been thoughts, all sorts of different emotions. It might have been love, hate, pleasant, pain, happy, sad, all that. Yeah. Are they there right now? And you realise, well, you can say, yes, this is there, or that's what I say. Are you recalling it? Is it when it's actually happening, when yesterday? And you'll say no. But it's cool, I'm recalling it right now and regurgitating it and keeping it there. And the fixating on it and keeping it there, putting the energy into it, that's very real again. And it seems to have that continuity because we keep recalling it, keep fixating on it. And that's what we don't realise. And we might have patterns, shapes and forms and grief or sensations from way back, years and years and years. For instance, if a sensation comes up that you call fear. Where'd you get that from? Well, you might have been told years ago when you had that feeling, you're in fear or you're angry. So I've labelled it as fear and anger, and if at that time that similar sensation comes, it won't be the same one. It'll always be a fresh and new one, but it might appear as the same, seeming the same intensity. When you say this sensation is fear, instead of seeing it fresh and new, you've loaded it down with all the past fears you've ever had. And it becomes something in the moment. But now it stirs the body up again like it was stirred up before. So away it goes. Or anger, something calls up and that it can hit at an old sensation in your body and stir something up, which you'll go into it, we'll call it anger. So fear and anger, unhappiness, depression, all these things are labelled about some past event, a thing you've had, which you're labelling, because the same sensation comes up, you're labelling it with the old pattern. Now, it's past. It's past many times, and you've been free from it for certain periods of time and other time. But if you keep bringing it up and reinforcing it, it's seemingly there again. And this is where all our psychological suffering comes about. We keep regurgitating the past, bringing it up, reliving it, seeing things fresh and new. And what are we doing when you're not seeing things fresh and new? You're not keeping up with life. But life is ever fresh. It's spontaneous. It's ever new. It's constantly transient. It's constantly changing. The experiencing and expressions are ever fresh and ever new. And we think we want to live life. We want to live life. We want to be happy and contented. But how the hell are you going to be happy and contented if you keep dragging up the past? So reliving the fresh and new, seeing it fresh and new, living from behind the 8 ball, behind this conceptual pattern of pattern of the person we've got, that is really a dead image we're living from. But the life itself that's expressing through that pattern is ever fresh, it's ever present, it's ever new, it's absolute. It's always absolutely present, absolutely fresh, absolutely new, because it's timeless, it's spaceless, it's bodiless, it's mindless. It's beyond any whens, wheres, hows or whys or what fors, beyond any of those things. But we label into this past, get the concepts about it, and then we try to make it real. Why is this happening? How can I change it? What can I do about it? Do I have to be this way? Well, no, you don't have to be that way. You are not that way, but you don't see it. What we need to do is see it for yourself. I can't teach you anything. I can't tell you anything. I can only point toward it. And how it happened here, it was pointed out, and it was resonated with or recognised with. When all the clouds of doubt and thought had lessened to some extent and was able to see through it. And they need to be quietened down a little. They need to be questioned and looked at, need to be investigated, because the saying is the false cannot stand up to investigation. But it will be the false unless it is investigated. And if it's not investigated thoroughly, it will continue to remain the false. But in the investigation, what happens? You'll know the truth. And what do they tell you? That know the truth will set you free. What must you be free from? You'll be free from the belief that you are a separate entity, a person, an individual. A belief that there is nothing separate or apart in this manifestation. It is the one essence, it's the one absoluteness that is utterly aware, totally aware. Not partially aware, totally and always aware that you are that. And recognise that when you know it already, when you say, I am not unaware. You're not. You're not unconscious. Conscious is another thing that's appeared on that awareness. Because then all the shapes and forms, the labels and the thinking and the reasoning come into that consciousness. But the awareness is the pure, absolute, uncorrupted or uncontaminated by anything that ever appears or expresses through it, on it, or as it. But in that expression on it, or as it, or through it, or whatever you like to put it, like the mirror is not contaminated by any reflection or image that appears on the screen. But without the mirror, there can't be any reflections. And without the awareness, there can't be any manifestation whatsoever. People will say, I'm looking for awareness. Can awareness look at itself? Does the mirror see itself? Does the sword cut itself when the fire sword can't cut it? No, the sword can't cut it, but because itself is trying to cut. But it can cut through a lot of other things. The fire can't burn it. The fire will burn a lot of things, but it can't burn itself. The water can't drown itself, yet it can drown a lot of other things. The space can't negate itself. So it's always ever fresh and ever new. So what do you come to the recognition or realisation of? Well, I must be that. already. I've been seeking to become that. And what I think that's Big Daddy in the sky, or a God, or some enlightened state, or higher power, or something at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I am that reality. I am that one essence. Mm-hmm. And even if the expression, the words coming through this now are not perfect, or not stuttery or a bit staggery, doesn't mean to say that the awareness that it's expressing as them has ever been touched or contaminated. The pattern might need a bit more polish and recognise itself. I don't know. I couldn't care less. But I know for certain that all the psychological suffering drops away. It'll still poke its head up now and again, but how can it stick around when it's seen through? Just like I can't get a bucket of blue water out of the sea, I've seen through that, but the sea doesn't stop appearing to be blue. I can't see where the sea and the sky met. When I look out from the beach to see where the sea and the sky met, it seems to be the end of the earth. And I know for certain it's not the end of the earth, though it still appears to be that way. When the clouds seemingly obscure in the sun, I know the sun has never left the sky. Through investigation and understanding and recognition, I know these things. And I know that I am, for certain. I can never ever say I am not. I am that pure being, or pure knowing, or pure awareing. But the thoughts, feelings, emotions, as I say, can still come up. The pattern can still express as a separate entity, an individual, as a person. But the tree still expresses as a tree out there, but it is nothing but the life essence itself. The cloud expresses as a cloud, but it's nothing but water vapour itself. The earth expresses as the earth rolling around the sun, all expressing in that pure intelligence energy or awareness. And those things haven't got minds and saying, well, I know that I'm not that, but it just naturally is. It is as it's being expressed. And that's what we say, what is not what was or not will be. It's the ever fresh and new presence awareness. And you are that and I am that, and I better let you have a say now, because they're all there waiting to tell me all about it, which I know quite a few are grasping now. And it's good to see it and recognise it and get that conviction. And what you've got to say mightn't be as rambling and rough as what this is, might be more to the point. So go ahead. Kat's there for a start off. She can give a go if she wants.
Yeah, it's not going to be, hi everyone, it's not going to be more polished just because I'm Polish. But,
give it a couple of rubs and a genie might appear. Polish.
Yes, so we have a couple of nice reminders. I think this was a beautiful one. When Rohan says that one of your pointers, when you were saying about the suffering, was a beautiful pointer. Psychological suffering is an invitation to look at who is experiencing them. Wonderful reminder. In this way, everything can be used to your own advantage.
Yeah.
Even the fact that there's no you who will be taking an advantage is just. Okay, I lost the track. Yes. So now, Tanya, be empty of all mental content, of all imagination and effort, and the very absence of obstacles will cause reality to rush in. That's from Nisargadatta.
Yeah, it can't rush in from anything. It's always there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just the obstacles that kind of hide it.
Yeah.
It's always there, yes. This quote seems to mean that without labeling thoughts, the truth and actual experience can be easily seen.
Yeah. Nothing easier than pure seeing, thinking, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling.
Yeah.
Without the bite ear of the thinker, seer, taster, toucher, or smeller, there is thinking, seeing. It's recognised in its natural state, pure awareness.
Just like the cloud can be easily seen without the sky, without the clouds. And I'll move that one. Move that one away a little bit. And we had one more comment here, I think. Yes, there is from Barbara. I am now absolutely new, fresh, pristine.
Yeah.
That's it. And Tanya, it is always the false that makes you suffer. The false desires and fears, the false values and ideas, the false relationships between people. Abandon the false and you are free of pain. Truth makes you happy. Truth liberates. Nisargadatta Maharaj. See that thoughts appear, but the content of thoughts is false mostly. I would even say always. Yeah, because thoughts are always a duality. It is a translation. Thoughts are translating singular activity into the duality. You can't actually... Well, you could argue that you can say functioning instead of functionaire and the function, or the seeing instead of a seer and a seen. But who is really using language this way? That's how the language or the thoughts, the content of the thoughts are always objectifying the experience which is experiencing, which is alive, which is moving. And that objectification is always false, because there is no object anywhere to be found, because the moment you create object, there is a subject, there is a division, and that division is a part of the beauty of the dance, which is to be totally appreciated, but not to be fooled by. And Barbara, love you, Bob and Kat, love to all. Love is always a nice expression, experiencing and expressing.
Yeah.
And Tanya, you are not rumbling, Bob. You said you were rumbling, and your rumbling weren't polished. You've got polished wife, it is polished. You're not always expressing the truth beautifully. Yeah. Sometimes he's mumbling, not rumbling, but mumbling. Some people struggle with the pronunciation. Not as bad as my accent, but...
Recognise the truth, Tanya, and take it on board and it's yours. As you say, you quote Nisargadatta out of there pretty frequently. Instead of make that quote your own, see through it.
Yeah, your own commentary.
He's pointed it to you, you take it from him and utilise it. He's offering it to you.
Yes. Yeah, but even hearing and picking the quotes in a way that resonates.
Yes, it's good, man.
It's wonderful, yes. You're always expressing the truth beautifully. So that's, yes, you are obviously on the same wavelength, since you actually appreciate the frequency with which he's transmitting. And Jim Nowak calls you dude. I think you had a Skype call recently. And Nazar says hello. Yeah, we have few less people because I do apologize. Bob sometimes comes late, and through the rushing, I just put it on your private website. I copied it on mine, and I copied it on public page.
What?
The streaming.
What's the streaming?
What are we doing now? Yeah, it's just going through the main channel as your private page instead of public. I've copied it now, but I'm sorry, I did not actually realize it through the pushing you to be on time. Yes, so this is so much for the questions and comments today. We are missing few people who are usually with us and contributing beautiful stuff. I'm not quite sure if they can comment on this one. There is no time, Rohan says. Yes, there isn't. And we still honor the fact that there are people waiting.
Who's that mirror?
Hi, Bob. So nice to see you, she says.
Yeah, Beryl.
Yeah.
Beryl.
Yeah.
How many years? 2004, I think, since I've seen her. Good. Good to hear from you.
Yeah.
No?
Yes, yes. I'm not quite sure if people who are commenting on the page will be able to, if we will be able to see them here, like Amarnath and others who have quite lucid comments. But yeah, I just don't really want to mock it out. Yes, Meryl is sending you a lot of hearts from Florida. Thank you.
Ditto. A lot of hearts back.
And Jim, will you be doing this again soon? Love it. Thank you both. Yes, Jim, we do it every week. It's just that by mistake I'm actually streaming. Maybe that was meant to be, otherwise maybe you wouldn't find us. Streaming through Bob's private website. Usually we are on a Facebook page. So I think we have your Skype connections. I can send you a link to the Facebook page, which is an official page. We're there every week. And Julia says, I can never speak after Bob speaks. What can I possibly add? I love you both.
Julia?
Julia, yes.
Hi, Julia. Love you.
Yeah, you're right. What could you add to Bob? But then, it may just flow. Like Jesus on the mountain. You open the mouth and the Father, the consciousness, the emptiness speaks. It's not correcting Bob. You can't possibly correct or be better or add or complete. What he says is absolutely spot on, beautiful and complete. But it's something else life may move you. You are an open channel just like Bob is. There's no superiority here. You're equal. He is a mouthpiece. Jesus was the mouthpiece. You are the mouthpiece. See what comes up. And Mukti says she relates. I relate, Julia. Yeah, wait. Open that channel and you may be speaking better, as Bob says. You may be more polished. It's always the same one. It's always the same one life expressing. It's not that he's got a better quality electricity running through the
No better or worse.
No.
The same generator generates the different wattage in the light bulbs and all that.
That's right.
It's still the same generator and the same power.
Yeah. The same electrical impulses going and connecting all that neurons there, and no worshipping of the messenger. No savior, sage and seer, and what was it? Sage, savior, seer. What's the first one? Saint. Saint, sage, savior and seer. That's Bob's reminder that I really love. No saint, savior, sage and seer can do it for you. This has to be digested completely discovered in... You want that drink?
No, it's all right.
Yeah, so Bob has a beautiful part of the spiel which points out to not worshipping those saviors, saints, sages and seers. But yeah, what Muktananda said, worship your own self.
Yeah.
Bow to yourself.
No, that Muktananda said that.
That probably many before him.
Yeah, many say it, yeah. God dwells within you as you, if you like to put that. See, it's the term God that puts a lot of people out,
Yeah.
But God is awareness, it's in pure intelligence energy.
All life,
it's Shiva, it's Buddha, it's all the different names they put on it.
Omniscience.
Omniscience.
Omnipotence.
Omnipresence. Absolute.
Yes. Empty luminous space, always here, Alvaro.
Yeah.
That's, yes, beautifully said. Empty and luminous is self-shining.
Self-shining, yeah.
And Tanya relates to Julia as well, feeling the same. And is love higher vibration? Barbara says.
There's no higher and lower, it's all one vibration.
Yeah.
might appear, you know, when you're discriminated.
Mm.
That's what happens with thoughts. It's just thoughts are the one sound coming through when we discriminate them and get lost in the word. And consciousness, super consciousness, higher consciousness, lower consciousness. Non-duality, they've even divided up non-duality. What's the latest one?
Neo-Advaita.
Neo-Advaita, Neo-Advaita. Leave it in its totality. It's the very idea of division where we get lost. As soon as we start with that division of anything, we move back into the old habit pattern.
And of course, in the dream, it is valid. I mean, you have the infrared and ultraviolet and all the colors in between that have different frequency of light. And you have different frequency of sound also. You have higher frequency and lower. You have high pitch, low pitch. So you could say on the level of human experience, love is higher or more refined vibration than fear or hatred or whatever.
Yeah, on the so-called human experience.
In the appearance.
In the appearance, yeah.
Yes.
But, you know, what's going to divide them?
That's right. It's a part of the dream. So within the story, within the dream, yeah, you have favorite colors and you have favorite vibration, and love gives you more pleasure than hatred or fear. It could be called within the dream.
Yeah.
It is superior. But what is, it's like to say that white color is superior to black. If you don't have both, you have nothing. Love without the opposite is the emptiness. How is it then superior to fear? There is no vibration in no opposite. So it is, it depends from the standpoint. And of course, the beauty of that amazing, incredible dream is to know the truth in which there is nothing happening. It's just the appearance, it's just the play, it's just the hologram reflected of the interpretation happening in the mind when the light touches the retina and projects the world and interprets the world and makes a story of the world. Both included, the absolute, which is knowing itself through the consciousness, having a glimpse of itself through the consciousness, and the human experience, all as it is, messy, with its ups and downs, with its pains and aches and fears and loves and all of it. That's and knowing it is a dream. Knowing it didn't happen, it never happened, it's not happening. It's just what appears to be. That's the exquisite celebration of a miracle. And Jackie from Ireland says hi.
Jackie.
Yeah.
Hi, Jackie. Long time no see.
Yes. And Tanya, the body is just another appearance or phenomenon. Table, tree, body, flower, cupboard, body, water, car, an appearance amongst many. No more, no less. Only the thought says that the body is more important than the cupboard or a cup of tea, or that I am the body, but not the cup of tea. Just story.
Exactly, beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah. Yeah, that wasn't a quote, that was you.
Yeah.
That's an understanding.
Beautiful.
Yes, beautiful. And Mukti, no one is speaking to no one, and the words fall away. Deep peace is what is here.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
When I say, I'm not speaking to anybody, I'm not speaking to any of mine.
Yeah.
I'm speaking to that I am that I am. Just to this and nothing else. So it's I am, the sense of presence speaking to itself.
Yes. And it's projecting all those icons, all those images, all those dream figures, just like at night in the dream. You're speaking to people, you're interacting with people, you're fighting with people. Bob is often fighting at night.
Yeah, so it's all the I am.
Yes, projecting the story.
We take it to be other I am.
Yes.
There's no other.
No other. And Tanya, exactly how beautiful it is when the words fall away and truth is seen and deep peace is noticed.
and bubbles forth, expressing itself naturally and effortlessly.
And in that deep peace and the silence, the bubbles of expression, the thoughts, the stories, the ideas, they can be equally appreciated. It's not about being attached to the peace and nothingness and sit in the no story space. When it comes, it is to be loved. When the story comes, it is to be loved. It is freedom. It is for anything, whatever shows up, whatever happens, is to be celebrated in the moment, recognized in the moment. And there is no preference for either one, for thought or no thought, for silence or for sound. That's because there is no one who have the preference. That's the freedom. And Jane, the great reality is deep down within you, as it says in the big book. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good pointer within.
It's, yes.
Yet ultimately it's not even...
No, it's not even... There's no within
no
or without.
No without, there is no division. But yes, I see the pointer. It points to under the surface of clouds, under that surface of storm on the sea.
So instead of being the great reality being within you, you are in the great reality.
That's right. Yeah.
You are the great reality.
Yeah. Yeah, only the boundaries which we impose on ourselves, like I'm inside the body, that's an idea.
Thank you, Jane.
Yes, yes. And Nasser, let go of all concepts, and what is left is the truth that will set you free. Well said.
Exactly, yes. That's what
they
say in Buddhism. The great perfection is non-conceptual awareness. As you're saying there, let go of all the concepts.
That's it.
There's no concept, non-conceptual awareness. The awareness hasn't gone away.
That's right.
But the concepts have dropped off. The thought's been paused.
Yeah.
And that's all the thought is a concept.
And the idea, sometimes people pick on the idea, let go. Who is there to let go? No, it actually goes the other way around. We are holding on to the concepts. The idea of self, holding on to those are my opinions, those are my precious beliefs, those are my truths. That's the holding on. Letting go is stopping it. Letting go is not an action. That is not, the holding on is an action. Stopping holding on is naturally relaxing.
Yeah.
It is the letting go. It's like Bob is giving the example of the holding on the bladder, not to piss yourself. You stop holding on, you don't really do letting go. It happens by itself, by stopping the action of holding on. So stop holding on to all the concepts, ideas, your precious beliefs, your precious opinions, your truths, your understandings, all the attachment to whatever is, my opinion on the politics, or my opinion on wearing or not wearing mask, or whatever it is.
Hold no opinions for or against anything.
Yes.
Don't cling.
Yeah, when those are seen as just the passing clouds, not really essential, then the letting go doesn't really have to happen. The recognition does the job.
Yeah. So that's another way of looking at it, using the words again. If you're not clinging to something, you're not holding on to it, are you?
That's it, yes. That's it, yes. But that was beautifully said, Nasser. Beautifully said. It's a nice one-liner without the disclaimer. Let go of all concepts, and what is left is truth. The truth that will set you free.
Exactly.
And Mukti says, what do you say about the idea of people being conduits for divine energy?
Say that.
What do you say about people, the idea of people being conduits for divine energy?
Well, there's no people.
And there is no divine energy.
It's just that pure energy, whether it's, don't have to put the label divine on it. So that energy is expressing and patterning, shaping and forming. It's all a manifestation. So if you like to call it conduit, you can, but you are that energy itself.
And yet they are instruments that are more tuned through whatever the experience tuned that instrument to more of an anger. There are people who are habitually angry, and there are people who are habitually inclusive and warming and inviting and loving. But that's just a different music. Just as we say about the different light bulbs and different wattage. Yes.
And some brighter than others.
That's right. Yeah.
But turn the power off, which one's better than the other?
That's it. That's it. Yeah. Bob sometimes says on the beginning of the spiel, when I'm talking about that intelligence, I'm not talking about your intellect, because some of you might be much smarter than I am, and some of you might not be as smart. The same applies to the emotional, so vibrational lovingness or tendency to be whatever, the active or altruistic. All of the tendencies, they vary. All of the values vary. The intellect, the emotional intelligence, also, all of it. That's just a particular makeup of that musical instrument, whether it is tuned a little bit higher pitch or lower. That's the conduits for divine energy. However, isn't it a beautiful story? Imagine it's a beautiful story of actually tuning to that highest vibrations and working towards it. If people are moved to do that, go for the workshops, open the voice, open the expression. Oh, gorgeous. I would just not take credit for it. I wouldn't say I'm doing it for the purpose of future attainment of the divine, whatever channel conducts. But life is moving and is dancing. And Megan, thank you, Bob and Kat. Love to all and happy holidays.
Thank you, Megan.
And love to all and happy holidays. And Tess, the fire can't burn itself. Thanks for this, Bob. Gotta go now. Lots of love.
Thank you, Taz.
Thank you, Taz. Yeah, that's actually, the nice highlight, isn't it? Your own fire cannot burn you. Your own passion cannot hurt you. It's not, it's not dangerous. It's life doesn't hurt itself. It is the pattern that may get burnt, but not the life itself. And Mukti, there is no progression, no path, nowhere to get to. That's right. Yes.
Recognise that and keep recognising it if you seemingly lose sight of it,
Yes.
that you are always the absolute.
And in the story, of course, they are seeming temporary goals. Like, let's say I want to learn to fly the airplane. So I will take lessons and I will attain and I will get the certification. All that. You're right? Yes, but in the ultimate truth, it is available now. It is not in the future. It is either to be recognized in this moment or never, because there is no other moment. It's only this present immediacy. So as Mukti says, no progression, no path, nowhere to get to. That's so true. That's it. It's always here and it's always now.
Start from there.
That's it.
Start from that fact. And
yes. And Barbara, please talk about the holographic universe. Holographic universe.
I haven't got a clue about any holographic universe.
Yeah, it is just an analogy that I like to use, because a hologram is something that any smallest part reflects the whole universe. It's like you could say in a droplet of water there is reflected the whole world. So that one drop of rain contains the whole universe. In hologram, one element is all. One is all. So it kind of feels like every part is the whole. So that's the analogy. That's how I like to use that. And also, what's the hologram? It's something completely, you can't grasp it. It doesn't have any substance. It is projected. It's the dance of light, like the dream. You can seemingly fly in the dream, or you can have a fight in the dream like Bob does. But it doesn't have any substance. It is translucent. It is appearance only. And the whole universe is like it. There is a lot of fantastic analogies. Holographic is just one. The projection and projector, or the computer simulation, or the dream, or the book, or the movie. All those analogies are just the pointers. They all have limitations, because they all are basically assuming a duality, any analogy that you use, whatever is appearing in space. So you have the space and the content. In the dream or in the movie, you have the screen and you have the whatever appears on it. Again, the two. But they're helpful to loosen up any fixed positions. And they're also helpful to actually see where you are stuck or identified. Are you identified as the character in the movie or the character in a book? Or are you identified as a witness or observer or viewer? Even that is an identification. Are you identified as space-like awareness? Even that is an identification. When the identification stops, even identification as the boundless space, if you think you are a space, there is still a thinking and there is still a definition. When there is no need to identify, that's because there is no one there to even need to define or identify. That's the non-conceptual awareness. There is no concept of identification, superior, inferior, inclusive, exclusive, because the identification is usually exclusive. I'm this body but not this, or I'm this mind but not that. But even all-inclusive, if it's still identification, is still the pattern of clinging or defining, is still a conceptualizing. Now, we are with recognition does the job. Perfect, Cat. That's Jane. Yeah, recognition does the job. And nobody is the recognized heir. And Nazar, turn the power off, and which light bulb is better than the other?
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you. Yes, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. And even the way they shine, it does not really depend on them. It's the light that shines, not the bulb. Bulb is just a vehicle, a channel. And Tanya, is seeing no separate self the end of inquiry? Some say it is only the beginning, that there is more to look at, such as desire and ill will. When you saw through the separate self, did investigation still happen?
What is this? No, you've got to stabilise in it though, investigating. If you seemingly lose sight of it, you've got to recognise again, come back and recognise it, but stabilising it. And the stabilising it, how are you going to go into the old thoughts with the back and forth, the high and gooding and badding and pleasant, painful? How are you going to stay in that? Just leave it as it is.
Yeah. And I would say, figure it out. Because that's the, like whatever happens to others is a different story. For some it may be that, like Bob was saying, he walked out from Nisargadatta and he was back in the mind. And hey, wait a moment, I've seen through it. There's no one there. Let me see again. So the investigation happens again. And then for years, let me see again, until you don't have to look.
See, that's how we reinforce the belief when separate from the fine time we learned our first words.
Yeah.
Up until the time we started to question and look beyond, because when something innately told you this is not good enough, I've got to find out a bit more than this because of the suffering. So all that habit pattern was seemingly very strong, but it's got no power at all when you investigate it. So it might take it a while for the mind to slow down enough to, if you're looking in the right direction, to see through it. But in the seeing through it, it'll never be the same again.
Yeah.
Like the seeing through will be instant, but the clarity, the clouds dissolving, will take a bit longer. And the more clouds dissolve, the more clarity there is in the sky.
Yeah.
The more thoughts are seen through and not fixated on, the more clarity there is in the head for the spontaneous emanation to go on.
And the seeing through happens, recognition happens, and there won't be any taking credit for it.
No.
The thing is, when you know there is no self, and the clouds are still coming in the sky, and the clouds are recognized, that investigation is not that, oh yeah, the self re-established itself. No, you know it's not there. It just appears to be blue.
As you just said, if you know there's no self,
Yeah.
who can investigate it?
That's right, yeah. And then it may still happen, the recognition of...
Yes, the recognition will still
it's
go
fresh
on.
and new. It's always in the moment now. It's not something that happened 5 years or 45 years ago and that's
No.
it. Because there is no time. It's either valid in this moment or it's not valid at all. It's non-existent. But yeah, see how it is going to be with you. See whether it is going to be, you know, the looking again, happening spontaneously, not by you, but just happening spontaneously. It's going to be there 5 times a day or 5 times a year. Or, yeah, just see how is your story going to unfold. And Rohan, desires appears as energy. Fulfillment of desire, make the energy subside back into that from which it arose. Non-fulfillment can make another energy appear that we label as discontentment, disappointment. Ultimately, it is all a play of energy.
Exactly.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Whatever happens, whether it will be fulfilled or it won't be fulfilled, is just another flavor of the same energy expressing. Seeing it this way, you don't really care. You don't really care for things. You don't really want things to be any different than they are, because who cares? I mean, that's just whatever the energy is exhibiting in the moment. The attachment to the results, the manifestation, wanting to manifest yourself better reality. All that stuff is seen through. And even if that wanting lingers somewhere, it loses its sting. Desires appear as energy. Tanya is answering to it. Thank you, Rohan. That clarifies things. Yes, it is all a play of energy. Yeah, all play of energy. All appearance, all vibration. Images made of light. Sounds made of whatever. The moving energy. All is moving energy. And gracias, Kai. Kat, great explanation, Alvaro says. And we see Melanie. Hi, Melanie. And Jim. Bob Nisargadatta spoke meditation and the Naan mantra as being important. Can you speak about your experience with these things? Where are they helpful?
I meditated for quite a few years, but I can't say they did help, and I can't say they didn't. But they took me to other things.
Yeah.
When I realised I wasn't getting anywhere with them,
yeah,
it moved
you away.
Moved me on, moved me to. And it took me to Nisargadatta. Now there, I wasn't doing any discipline at all.
Yeah.
Talking to him.
Since then, for 45 years, no meditation.
Though he did have a lot of people he would give the mantra to, and a lot of people, you know. Most of the Westerners he wouldn't bother with, but all the Indians give the
giving a mantra and
chanting and all the practices to do.
Which is understandable, because they have so much of an investment of their belief in it that it actually can really do the wonders for them. I mean, there is beautiful research on spontaneous remission of cancers through the placebo. If you really believe the mantra is going to save you, well, who knows? That may be how life wants to play it out in this body. Who knows? The placebo can cure the cancer. Why not? But I would say, you know, there is a value in meditation, but not in recognizing the truth. Same as there is a value in the ability of driving the car. It's definitely a value in knowing other languages and speaking other languages, or having some sort of an orientation. In the dream, in the history or biology or politics, there is a great value in having the mind able to focus, to concentrate, single-pointed, quiet, to be aware of how the thoughts are flowing, that's all of great value. But in the dream, in the appearance, trained mind or metta meditation, they're all beautiful, they make your dream smoother. But do they have anything to do with getting out or waking up from the dream? No.
When the Sagadatta said that when there's no meditator and nothing to meditation on, where's it all going to go?
Yeah.
So he wouldn't say that to everybody.
No. No. Yeah, so I would
He
say
says
that
that's the true meditation. When there's no meditator and nothing to meditate, that is the true meditation.
that's right. Yeah. Meditating. Life becomes a meditating, because whatever is happening is the, meditation is really just being aware of presence. And when the awareness of presence is pervading all experiences, then the meditating goes on all the time.
Yeah, without the meditator, without the meditation, it's just as it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would still say that if life moves you to chant the mantra, be it a Coca-Cola mantra or be it a name of saint, if life moves you, it may be the way life wants to express or train the mind in this body. Just don't take credit. Just don't say, I am doing it in order to achieve something in future. Or if that thought comes up, just laugh at it. And see, life moves me, I'm sitting in quiet, I'm not doing it. It's just life expressing through sitting in quiet. Not in order to attain something for the me. Because there is no me. And there is no attainment. There is no future. And what is to be attained? And nothing.
If you sit, sitting or moving about quietly and a sudden melody or something comes into your mind, or a song or a warmth or a vibrating humming, and it's all...
Or the poem, or the beautiful piece of creation, or
it's coming up by itself, going over and over in your head.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so that's on meditation of Nisargadatta. And Tanya, thank you for so wonderfully answering my question, Bob and Kat. I will see how it is for me stabilizing, recognition, or questioning coming up all by itself, just happening. And that childlike curiosity of how is it going to unfold here without needing to compare it with anyone, because this is a miracle and you are honored to see it from that close. Others you see through the concepts, through the stories that they tell you, and you imagine those stories and compare. This one, just this one you can see so intimately close. That is the one that is going to be the most exciting. And Jim, but Nisargadatta gave a specific mantra, didn't he? Specific mantras. Did Nisargadatta give specific mantras to specific people?
Probably would, yeah. If I asked for it.
Yeah.
Asked for it, yeah. If they wanted one.
Yeah. Did he give names?
No, I don't think so.
No. Okay. Yeah.
But I think...
the mantra of the lineage, Jim says. Mantra of the lineage. Did Nisargadatta give mantra of the lineage?
Yeah, for those that wanted that sort of thing too.
Yeah. If you love yourself in other, you give them what they want. You speak their language. You give them a hug if they want the hug. You become an amma. You give them mantra if they want the mantra.
He took on the lineage, but I didn't think he had much
regard to the story.
Yeah,
to the story of lineage is always a story of the past. And
for his guru, he had great love and warmth, yes, naturally, and because of that, he resonated back to his guru's guru, and so back to the lineage.
Yeah, and also that cultural background, that's something that's expected in the culture, to honor the pattern all the way as much as you can see it. And you said he was putting the little thing on the pictures of the gurus in the lineage.
Yeah.
Every morning, going around the room and putting a little bit of a dirt on how you call it, ochra or something.
Whatever it is, the red.
The red coloring.
Oh yeah, I forget
pigment.
What it is.
Yes. Yeah, it's hard to distinguish the cultural influence from have to distill really, really plain teaching from.
Yeah.
Every pattern gives it a specific flavor.
Yeah, that's the trouble. See, somebody, Ramana did this, Visagata did that,
Yeah.
Osho did this, somebody else did that, you know, and we think, well, Muktananda did this, and so we think we've got to follow along. We don't. Each one is a unique expression.
Yes.
You know, just point to what they're pointing to, recognise to what they're pointing to, and see for yourself, and see how it expresses through you.
Also, people, different speakers have this particular tendency to advise others to use what works for them. If someone had the breakthrough through the meditation, they will advise for the meditation.
Yeah.
But whether the breakthrough was really a consequence of any action, or was it the consciousness waking up?
Well, it's the way life took them, wasn't it?
Yes.
Takes you where you take it.
And also people are attracted to the speakers they resonate with.
Yeah.
Like you are using a lot of
Yes.
a lot of pointers that are actually drawing from the intellectual heritage of humans, like, you know, the galaxies, the stars, the cells, the biology. This is all things that we've learned, and they are used as a pointers.
Well, they ring a bell, if you call it, you know, something that resonates with you, rings a bell. I like that, well, it's mine, take it.
Yeah, and usually people who listen to Bob and who can have that open, wide view and see the pointers in the ocean, in the galaxies, in the stripes on the tiger, everywhere, have enough knowledge to actually relate to it. They would be people of a pretty strong, pretty bright minds. I found quite brilliant people coming here. Not many who would be underrated intellectually or low on in the, which is what it is. They are other ways of transmitting it through silence or through love and service, bhakti, hugs, all of it. And yeah, life resolves it. It's self-organizing. You are drawn to wherever it takes you where you need to be.
Yeah.
And we have Rohan. There is a beautiful observation, Kat. It's what Douglas Harding said. What you are, what are you, like a zero distance from yourself? What are you, like a zero distance from yourself?
When you can have moved away for the least way.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
No one else can tell you. You must see for yourself.
Exactly.
And Nicholas says, I am the mantra. I am is the mantra.
Yeah.
And happy birthday, Nicholas. He had a birthday yesterday. And yes, and we have thank you message. And that's where we are for now. What are you like? A zero distance from yourself. Yes. We can have the image of Bob has this beautiful expression of, and I find it extremely helpful. That was my breakthrough point. Everyone has the concept about you, and you have the concept about everyone, and you have the concept of yourself. Which of them is true? Which one is true? And you see how your mother sees you, or you see how you see your mother, and how her friend sees her. And that is completely different. That's completely different book. If you compare a person to a book, you have a different chapters read in the book. You have a different impression of what this book is like. If you are as a book, or if, let's say, I am as a book, for someone I may be a shallow or smart ass or whatever. I've heard that expressions. For yet another ones, I may be a completely different book. For myself, I'm a mystery. I used to have a concept of my sensitivity, vulnerability, emotionality. Wasn't that attached to the intellect or to the doing, but that was also a concept. Even that is a concept. What you are is a mystery, and no expression can bring it close. No, every expression, no matter how expansive and elaborative, is limiting. because words are always limiting.
No questions?
Not at the moment. Thank you, Bob and Kat, and love you. Thank you, Nicholas. And no more questions for now?
Oh, you want to finish up on it? Say something?
I think it's your turn. You say something. Anything.
As the Sagata says, my silence sings, my emptiness is full.
Yeah.
And if you're full, pour it out.
Mm.
No use keeping it in there. Pour it out, let it spread, let it express.
Nicholas says, so happy to see Bob looks stronger than me. Oh, I hope you're all right. You always looked very strong and brisk and bright. I hope you're all right. But yes, Bob looks stronger, feels strong, don't you? He's loved. And Catherine says, dearest Bob and Kat, I want what you have. Oh, you have it? You are it. You are it.
Yes, Catherine, take it, it's yours.
It's yours. It's the same electricity that lights every bulb. As long as the body is alive, it means it expresses through it, and that's who you are. And you're not dim at all. It's nothing that is dim.
What's John David was there
was
just before that.
John David, love you, Bob and Kat, and we love you, John.
Yeah.
See us sometime. Call us. It's been a while. And Tanya, thank you, Bob and Kat, and all lovely expressions of the one essence. Love you, Bob and Kat. Love you all.
Same
beautiful.
to you, yeah. The
Yes.
expressions coming through. Oh, yeah.
And Jane, beautiful. Thank you, Bob and Kat. And Mukti, so blessed to have you both here available. All love. You definitely pour it out. Thank you.
Take it in and begin to pour yourself, Mukti.
As you do. As you already do. Yeah. And Sally and Rohan and Megan and Alvaro and Jim. Oh, yeah, we have thank you messages coming, flowing, overflowing. What a beautiful surprise to be with you. A pleasure to meet you, Kat and Bob. You melt my heart every time I hear you talk. Happiest of holidays to all of us. Thank you. Yeah, so there was a deeper sense in that error that I've committed, taking credit for committing an error because you were late. I transmitted through the wrong side, and
You'll just explain to me that afterwards.
yes. And I love you all. Thank you, everyone. That's Julia. Thank you, dear.
Thanks, Julia. Hope you're going well. Haven't heard from you for a day or two, have we?
A day or two, yes. Yes, thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful. Because we're gonna be on Zoom before Christmas, but we're not gonna be on Facebook Live anymore. So have a wonderful holiday in the future, which doesn't exist. And James also sends all his love and gratitude, and all the love to James.
Yeah, love James. Yeah.
And Kathy and Tanya, and yes, Merry Christmas to all. Tanya says, yeah, enjoy whatever the meaning you have given to it, and just enjoy the moment as it comes.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Kathy Mac. Hi, Kathy.
And only Zoom in the future? No, John, it's just before Christmas. We're going to be here next week, next Sunday, but it is going to be after Christmas, I believe. So, no, we're going to be there. Yeah, Zoom is a little bit unfair on you, isn't it, at 2 a.m. And I'm seemingly non-stop packing, Julia says. And Mukti says, remember to donate at Bob's site. Thank you. I guess I will have to. Can't wait, Julia says. I want to Skype soon. Yeah, catch us even today. Or tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.
Mhm.
And Merry Christmas and New Year to all, Jane says. Thank you.